Hi, I'm Nicole Lipp, and I'm a filmmaker.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Daddy Daddy.
I can be smart when it's important.
I'm your daddy. I'm
sorry to this
I'm your daddy.
Hi, I'm Dina Stubblebine.
I'm Nicole Lipp.
I'm Carly Tamarin.
I'm Courtney Bell.
I'm Catherine Hughes, and we are Not Your Daddy's Film.
So I'm a girl from LA, so obviously I was a child actor, but I peaked at age 9 with a non-speaking role in a McDonald's commercial, so like I wasn't a famous child actor. But I do think just being a girl born in Los Angeles and being in, surrounded by all the things that LA surrounds you with, I knew immediately I wanted to be involved in film and television in some way. And I also think being a little girl, I didn't really have examples of women who were doing anything in the film industry besides acting. So I was like, okay, I'm an actor. Well, actually, no, I was like, okay, I'm an actress. Give me an Oscar immediately. And so I spent my entire first 22 years of my life doing acting and pursuing it. And I got a BFA in acting in a conservatory acting program in college. And then I came back out home to LA and did that whole LA thing. Some auditions, a lot of student films, a couple, I got my first guest star role on a network TV show, etc. And I was doing that for a year, and I was miserable. I hated it. I have depression and anxiety, I think, which is very common at this point. But that lifestyle was not good for my mental health. And so I kind of very extremely was like, fuck this, I'm out. And I quit the industry entirely and wound up working in marketing for 6 years. And surprise, surprise, that did not leave me fulfilled either. So after, working in marketing, I wound up starting my own marketing agency and running that with my partner. And this was in the early days of Instagram. So I started an Insta blog. I was going to music festivals and blogging about music festival fashion. And so that's why my Instagram handle is Flower Hits the Big Time, because when I first made my Instagram account, I was a music festival blogger, and I would bring this giant sunflower with me to festivals, and that was my my staple, what's the word I want? My signature, I don't know. I've always been I've always understood branding, whether I like it or not. But so that was kind of how I got started in the social media world. And it was when it was still pretty, uncommon. And I quit acting and was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life now that the one thing I've done my entire life is no longer my entire purpose. And I tried a lot of things, actually. I taught acting and improv to kids on the spectrum, which I really loved, actually, but realized I couldn't make money doing that unless I went back to school, and I'm not a school person. So I was like, I'll do that on the volunteer basis, but I still need a career. I worked in retail. I was a receptionist at a plastic surgeon's office in Beverly Hills. That was crazy. I babysat. I just did I was a stylist for a while. I was assisting a stylist on major television commercials. So I had so many lives. And then a friend of a friend was was a recruiter and knew that I had a little bit of an Instagram following. And she was like, Tom's Shoes is hiring a social media person. Are you interested? And I was just like, sure, fuck it. I don't know. What am I doing with my life? Let's do it. So that's how I wound up working in marketing. I was in-house at Tom's Shoes for 2 years, and then I left and started my own marketing agency with my partner, both my life partner and my business partner. And then I did that for, about 4-ish years running our own agency. And it was successful. My parents were super proud to tell their friends at dinner parties what I was up to. And, you know, we were working like crazy. We had some pretty solid clients. And I kind of, you know, the whole time I kind of knew, I felt in my gut, like I wasn't doing what I was put on this earth to be doing. But through marketing, I found myself on set quite a lot because I was either, you know, producing or just kind of supervising content and branded and stuff like that for my clients. And every time I was on set, I was like, holy shit, this is the best day ever. Like, how do I do this all the time? And I wound up like, you know, picking up photography as a hobby, and I would sometimes shoot for clients. And then one day, truly like out of the fucking blue, I woke up one morning and was like, I feel like I could direct a music video. Just, it was complete audacity. I really had nothing to base that on. But I just felt it in my bones. And I called my friend Disco Shrine, who's an amazing, beautiful, brilliant pop artist. And I was like, hey, I know this is crazy, but can I direct a music video for you? And she somehow said yes. She took a chance on me and believed in me. And so I directed my first music video, and standing on set for the first time as a director, I looked in the monitor and saw what was once in my head on that little screen. And for the first time in my life, I was like, this is where I'm meant to be. And it was the most exhilarating, beautiful, fulfilling, exciting moment of my life, because for the first time, like when you know, and I finally knew, I was born to be a filmmaker and a director, and so here I am, and now I do that. Yeah, and that first video was in 2019, so it's been almost just a little more than 5 years since I started directing. And yeah, I spent a little while, you know, directing as many music videos as I could while I was still running the marketing agency. And then I directed my first short film, and I kind of put the marketing work on pause so I could really focus on that film. And when I finished production on that and even thought for a second about going back to marketing, I was just like, fuck that. So I've been a full-time director and writer, etc. since then. And it's been like, I don't know, I'm finally like living the life I was supposed to be living all along. So better late than never.
Not Your Daddy's Films is an organization that highlights the work of and provides support for women and non-binary filmmakers.
Hence the name. We are not the old guard of filmmakers, the old daddies. We are new and improved.
5 women walked into a bar. Literally, this bar and Not Your Daddy's Films was born. At first, we just wanted to screen our own work alongside the very few other female directors that we knew.
But the audience was quick to ask when the next screening would be, if they could recommend directors to screen with us, and ask for advice on making their first short films.
It was so. My production company is AYF Media, All Your Friends Media, and that's where I do a lot of branded work, music videos, short films, etc. But I'm also a co-founder at Not Your Daddy's Films, which is a social impact organization for women and non-binary filmmakers. So me and my 4 co-founders, Carly Tamarin, Courtney Bell, Vika Stubblebine, and Catherine Hughes, my besties, my daddies, my queens. I love them. They're brilliant. I love them so much. The 5 of us started Not Your Daddy's Films together because all 5 of us are filmmakers, directors, writers, etc. The 4 of them are still working actors. I'm a recovering actor. And the 5 of us just felt this gap in the industry. The statistics of, you know, I'm not going to try to rattle off numbers right now because I'm not good at numbers and I don't remember them, but Google the statistics of women making films in Hollywood right now, and it's utterly depressing. And I feel like we were improving a little bit for a while, and then it like regressed. So it's quite upsetting and discouraging if you really know how many of the top grossing films, or you know, how many of the top awarded films, et cetera, are actually directed by women. And the issue is not that there's like a a lack of talented women in this industry. The issue is that women aren't giving these opportunities. And like, don't even get me started on other underrepresented groups like people of color, people who are differently abled, queer people, etc. Like, I'm just gonna talk about like women and non-binary people right now. The best way to get involved with Not Your Daddy's Films is to come to one of our events. So if you're based in Los Angeles or happen to be in LA, go to our website, notyourdaddy'sfilms.com, and check out our calendar of upcoming events and just come to one of those. That's the best way to like really become part of this community. If you're not based in LA and you want to get involved, definitely reach out to us on Instagram. We are hoping to continue to grow outside of LA. So stay tuned for announcements about screenings and events in your city. And yeah, follow us on Instagram and on TikTok at NYD Films, and reach out and send us your work. Tell us, ask us your questions. Like, we're here for y'all. Yeah, but definitely the biggest way is just to come to one of our events and like hug me in person and let's hang out.
So help us change the film industry for the better. After all,
We're all daddies here. We're all daddies here.
I was watching your Facebook with that.
A lot coming up. My short film, Mistakes You Make Before You Die, is premiering at Out on Film in Atlanta next, soon, really soon, early October. So that will be very exciting. I'll be heading to Atlanta to see my baby on a big screen. And Out on Film is an Oscar qualifying film festival, specifically for queer filmmakers and queer stories. And that's really, really, really meaningful to me. I have a husband. He's my best friend, my favorite person in the world. I love you, Michael. Bless your heart. So most people assume that I'm straight, but I am queer, I am bi, and that is something that is part of my identity and part of my story. And so I feel incredibly honored to be part of this festival and to be, part of a community that is supporting each other and telling our own stories. And I'm really passionate about representation on camera and off camera, but especially in stories that are not necessarily about representation. I think that it's really moving to just see queer people or, differently abled people, people of color, just diversity in general. Shocker, diversity is cool. But I love seeing diversity in film, especially, and in TV, because when I think back to like my experience as a little girl wanting to be an actor, I think that I really just wanted to feel seen. I was obsessed with TV and film, and I always have been. And I think when I was watching movies and I was looking at like Julia Roberts or like Gwyneth Paltrow or Reese Witherspoon, I was like, that is a beautiful, really skinny, really straight white woman. And I'm white, so I got one of them. But I've always suffered with body dysmorphia and disordered eating, and I've always, had my own journey with my mental health, and I think a big part of that was me burying and not really being able to accept or share my queerness. And I know that when I was a little girl, if I got to see, a diverse array of characters on screen, living lives, telling stories, being their best selves, I think I would have been inspired to live my truth as well. So that's really important to me. I think I want to do that for the youth. I want to give that to the youth because I wish I had it when I was the youth. Right. I'm not that old, I swear. Follow me on Instagram. My handle is flowerhitsthebigtime. And yeah, reach out and say hi. I love connecting with people and hearing people's stories. Yeah, community. Hi, my name's Nicole Lipp, and you've just been buzzed.
You told me to make a list of things I want to do before I die. But to be honest, right now I kind of would rather actually just die.